How do you go from being a Playboy bunny, dating celebrities and partying with Elton John, to being found dead in a bush by a pharmacy? Ellen Price was born in March 1956 in the small town of Little Rock, Arkansas. But this small town girl would turn into a stunning and world-famous Playboy model. She went by the stage name Star Stowe and had always kind of just dreamed of making it big and just making a name for herself. She moved to Vegas and was captured by the bright lights and big city. She wanted to get noticed and also obviously needed to make some money in order to kind of support herself and live. So she started dancing at an adult nightclub. It was during these nights in Vegas that she ended up meeting lead singer of the band Kiss, Gene Simmons. And this meeting would set in motion a series of events that would change her life forever. Gene was really captivated by her and the pair began dating. He really believed in her and obviously could see just how stunning she was and how much potential she had to become a model. He was like, let's get you noticed, so he sent her photos to Playboy. And sure enough, it worked. She ended up being the 1977 centerfold. For this small town girl, it felt like all of her dreams were coming true. She was hanging out with people like Elton John and rubbing shoulders with people she'd previously only seen in magazines. However, being in the limelight, especially at such a young age, she was only 20, was dangerous. She was around a lot of substances and alcohol constantly, and she struggled with her mental health. She turned to these substances to try and cope with the fame and the chaotic lifestyle. Star and Gene ended up splitting after a few years, and she kind of went off the rails. Amidst the chaos, she met a man called Peter Malago, and the pair got pregnant. Star gave birth to their son Michael, but despite marrying Peter and feeling like this was gonna be it for her, the pair sadly got a divorce. Star would end up moving to Florida in 1986 and again went sort of back to working in this adult industry at nightclubs as a dancer. After initially living quite a luxurious celebrity lifestyle, she'd almost like come crashing back to earth. And struggling to make enough money to support her and her son, she had to send her son back to live with his nan. She then just spiraled further into addiction. She was doing S-work to make ends meet, and she would always kind of go through these periods of addiction, and then she would manage to claw her way back out, but then would get sucked back in again. It really was this cycle that I feel a lot of people with addiction really will relate to. In 1991, for example, she got clean and met a guy who she lived with for a while, and things were going great. But unfortunately, after they split, she again went down that slippery slope. Just prior to her 41st birthday in 1997, Star was spotted by members of the public between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. in the local neighborhood. She would never be seen alive again. Tragically, her body was found strangled and partially clothed that day, dumped in a bush behind a pharmacy in Coral Springs. Chillingly, this wasn't the only murder in the area. An S-worker named Sandra Walters had also been murdered on the 25th of February that year, so just a couple of weeks prior. And the cause of death was exactly the same. It was strangulation. Then again, another woman, Tammy Strunk, was murdered in the November. Police strongly believed that these killings were linked. Like I said, the MO was identical. They felt chillingly there was a serial killer in the area. Horrifically though, there was a real lack of evidence and any suspects, and Star's case remains unsolved.